Alright, so I have one more day until the Spartan Race, and Fridays for us are recovery days during this 15-day boot camp. And I had the bright idea that I would do a cold plunge since those are excellent for recovery, but just like anything else, we are going to have to check with ChatGPT to see what ChatGPT thinks is the best method for us to go about the cold plunge, meaning how cold does it have to be, how long do we need to be in there. But I do know one thing for certain: I need an ice bath and I need a lot of ice. So let me show you what I got. This is my massive bucket of ice that I have. And here's the 110 gallon tub that my neighbor's letting me borrow. Now all we have to do is go up to the studio and talk with ChatGPT and come up with a formula and a plan for our ice bath. Okay, I'm gonna check ChatGPT and we're gonna build out our ice bath formula. I went and got a whole bunch of ice. I dumped it into the bucket that my neighbor's letting me borrow for right now. It's this huge ice bath tub. And so I plan on taking an ice bath on Friday evening as part of my recovery process, along with the stretches that I will do Friday morning, and all in preparation for me to be the best version of myself going into the Spartan Race on Saturday. I'm gonna pull up a couple of screens here. So we'll open up our Google Sheets, go to our workout plan. All right, whenever I originally recorded this, all my measurements and my weights were completely off. So I'm gonna redo the prompt and we're gonna see what ChatGPT comes up with for us. So I'm gonna start with a brand new prompt, which is, I'm using a 110 gallon bucket to do a cold plunge. I have an ice chest that holds around 250 pounds of ice. How much ice should I use if I am filling a bath this size, and how long would you suggest I let it sit before it gets to optimal temperature for me to get the best result from it? So let's now drop that into the GPT and see what she comes up with. So 20 pounds of ice per gallon of water. So let it sit for an hour. All right, so we're gonna come up with our recipe for our ice plunge now using GPT. I'm such a bad speller. I hope I spelled recipe right. Don't judge me, chat. I wanted to break down the ice bath recipe that ChatGPT gave me based off of my tub size and ice chest setup. So my particular tub size is 110 gallons. And the ice capacity that I have available to me is that very large ice chest that holds around 250 pounds of ice. Cold plunges are usually brought down to 50 to 59 degrees Fahrenheit for safe, effective recovery. Now, how much ice should you use? A general rule, it seems, is that about 20 pounds of ice per 10 gallons of water. So for us, that would be around 200 to 220 pounds of ice for this particular ice bath. Now, as soon as you dump in the ice, you can't get right in. You do have to let it sit for a minute to get to temperature. So if you use 200 pounds of ice in a 110 gallon bucket, you can expect to wait 45 to 60 minutes for it to reach that optimal temperature of 50 to 59 degrees Fahrenheit. So way simpler than I thought. It would only need to be one of the large ice chests that I have. It holds about 250 pounds of ice. So what I'll do in the future is fill it, I'll dump the ice, wait for 45 minutes, and then do my 8 to 12 minutes. I did it last Friday and probably did it way too cold. I lasted about 5 minutes, but it was the first time I've ever done it. So all right, before we wrap things up, I did want to do a quick time lapse of how I actually incorporated this into my workout plan. So open up your Google Sheets. You can quickly add a row to the right, and then I labeled this Friday evening. I did have some stuff built out from the past, so all I'm doing is copy and pasting this from the sheet that I already have created, but you can easily take this from this lesson, or you can use your own recipe and proportions based off of what you have available to you and what ChatGPT has guided you to do. But what I simply did was type in Friday evening. I gave what the title of the exercise was, which is going to be an ice bath, and then I jotted down the guidelines, which is we want that water temperature to be that nice 59 or 50 degrees, and then we're going to sit in this ice bath for 8 to 12 minutes for ideal effectiveness. And then the last thing I did was start to type in my recipe, which is for every 10 gallons of water you want to use 20 pounds of ice. And the last thing that you want to remember is we're going to let this ice steep for about 45 minutes to an hour before we actually take our cold plunge. This will give the water time to acclimate and actually hit that ideal temperature that we want. Aesthetically, because this is not part of my normal daytime discipline, I changed it since it's a Friday evening exercise. I just changed the color a little bit. For me, that purple seemed like it would be a good evening color and remind me that this is something that I will do on Friday evenings and it's not part of my daytime routine.